Let's call this Tuesday, April the 6th, 2021 Budget Committee meeting to order. I'll start with roll. Commissioner Bowens.
Here.
Commissioner Glover.
Here.
Commissioner Wade.
Here.
Commissioner Stubblefield.
Here.
And I'm here, so let it be known we've got a quorum. Commissioners, the minutes from the March 2nd, 2021 meeting are before you. Are there any additions or subtractions?
I move for approval. Second.
I've got a motion by Wade and I've got a second by Glover. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We know that the minutes carry.
I haven't used caller 1 and 2. If there's a noise background, I will.
Okay.
Let me know.
I think we're fine right now. All right. First thing on the agenda is Dr. Causey, the school director, to present balanced budget amendment number 42.
Place for me to sit. Mr. Bone, I promise I'll try not to bother you.
That's a hot seat, I think.
Good afternoon. Is this the hot seat? Whew. My wife has those new seat warmers. That's crazy stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. You will notice the budget, a balanced budget amendment to the tune of $1,115,000. Look at this. Actually, $838.38. I think it got maybe cut off on yours.
We don't do cents.
Ma'am,
We don't put the cents.
you don't put cents on there? Well, I apologize. Maybe I just never noticed that.
You're
I don't mind.
okay. You're okay.
Just to let you know, under the revenue amendments, that first one is a train refund, part of our agreement that they've given us. Other local revenues was United Way grant that we have. The BEP Basic Education Program increases special legislation that the governor had back in the spring when he called special session and increased the BEP by 2%. Of course, that was only for half a year, so then it got 1%. And that's actually going to be in the tune of a stipend for all staff that's going to be in their last check. A lot easier to do it that way than to increase salaries for the next 6 months. So all certified staff members will get a $500 stipend.
Is that what line?
That is the basic education funds.
Yeah, but under the expense
536,000.
line, is that under teachers, the 388,500?
It's under teachers, under regular education program. You will see it under supervisors because everybody with a certification will get that stipend. So it's not just certified. That's the line item. But if you added all of those up together, then you would get that amount of money. It has to be spent that way. We don't have a choice. Moving on, the next one, other state revenue, seatbelt grant. Then you have the technology grant, the internet connectivity grant. These were all earlier in the year where we spent hotspots, laptops, virtual seats, those kind of things. And then the last one is insurance recovery. That's a replacement on a bus because we added our insurance. If you remember, we have full replacement for buses that are not so old. And then fixing up another bus to the tune of $103,000. All of those funds are spent, to answer your question, Commissioner Wade, all the way through that last, it's on your next page. If you see that second transportation at $69,156, that's where all those funds are spent. The rest of the budget amendment is housekeeping.
Okay. Whenever I see a budget being amended for over $600,000,
Right.
it concerns me. But what you're saying is the state gave us money and we have to spend it.
We have to spend it on
Teachers.
stipends, yes. And anybody with a license. Now, with BEP funding, as we know, not all of our teachers we pay teachers that are not part of BEP. Everybody does because BEP isn't funded all the way. But we are also going to be able to use ESSER money, federal government money, not local budget money, to give our classified a $250 stipend. So everybody in their June check will get a stipend. We don't say bonus because that's got different rules attached to it, but they're going to get a stipend. And then if the governor's budget passes, then right now there's going to be another increase of 4% in the fall. But we said 4% this time last year, and then it went to 2%, then it went to 0%, if you remember. So I'm not counting any chickens at this point, but you will see it as a balanced budget. And the reason it is so large is because all of that revenue.
Any more questions for Dr. Causey?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Got a motion by Commissioner Bowens to approve. Got a second by Commissioner Glover. Any more questions or discussion? Ready to vote? Commissioner Wade?
Aye.
Commissioner Stubblefield?
Aye.
Commissioner Glover?
Aye.
Commissioner Bowens? And the chair votes aye, so 5 ayes have it.
Could I ask you one more question?
Absolutely.
What's the status on Ridgetop fixing the sewer problem?
I wish I could tell you, Commissioner Wade. I've copied you on a couple emails. The communication, if it was bad before, it's worse now.
He's not responding from the.
They have an attorney that is supposed to be getting us the language that they want for us to be able to really take control of the sewer. And I've now asked for it twice, have yet to see it. I will tell you, we were actually going to spend some funds and we're going to smoke Watauga.
Okay.
So we can get us out of the picture for that. So, because usually when we ask about that, that's the first thing we talk about. So we want to stop talking about it. And if it is us, then we'll take care of it. But if it's not us, then we need to go to the problem that we have. And that's, we have a sewer pump. We need to dig a hole and we need to be done with it.
Yes.
And right now it's just not happening.
Yes.
So I just wanted you to know,
Well,
it's not from a lack of communication on that
And
part.
as, I came to you a year ago about
Yep.
it. We talked about it. I
You're
thought it was
right.
done.
Yep,
I'll go back and talk to the mayor and
Okay.
tell him it's time to get it done.
I appreciate it. Like I said, we're waiting on his attorney to give us the language that they want
When was that project finished at Ridgetop? What time?
3 years ago.
Way overdue then. huh?
Well, no, let me back up. I'm finishing up year 4. So it's been over 4 years ago.
I was gonna say,
Yep.
it's been a while.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Next, yeah. Oh, okay. Next on the agenda is Dylan Hester, the highway superintendent, to present the balanced budget amendment number 43. Jody, you gonna take care of this?
Want me to go ahead and,
Yes, ma'am, sure.
okay. Budget amendment number 43 is basically a balanced budget amendment. It's where your, highway department has a lady in their office retiring, and, they will need to also put funds in there to pay her out, and for a new employee, they would want to train for 2 weeks. So this just basically puts the funding in their administration department, and it's taking it out of their highway and bridge maintenance department.
Any questions for our highway
I'll make a
superintendent?
motion.
Got a motion to approve by Glover.
I'll second.
I got a second by Commissioner Stubblefield. Any more questions or discussion? Ready to vote? Commissioner Bowens?
Aye.
Commissioner Wade?
Aye.
Commissioner Stubblefield?
Aye.
Commissioner Glover?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, so the 5 ayes have it. Thank you, Delvin. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right. Next on the agenda, we've got our finance director to present balanced budget amendment number 44 for Joe Forts County Building Department, an amount of $22,100.
This is the budget amendment where, I guess there was some damage from the ice storm in February, and Joe really didn't think it was gonna be that expensive, that when Mr. Weaver came out, the estimate that he gave. So, that being said, it was 24,600. $2,500 deductible.
Gotcha.
So this is the revenue coming in on the insurance recovery and then the expense out of Joe's budget.
And this is at the health department,
Yes, it's for the health department.
health department building, I should say.
Make a motion, we approve.
I've got a motion by Commissioner Glover.
Second.
I've got a second by Commissioner Bowens. Any more questions or discussion? Ready to vote? Commissioner Stubblefield?
Aye.
Commissioner Glover?
Aye.
Commissioner Wade?
Aye.
Commissioner Bowens?
Aye.
The chair votes aye, so the 5 ayes have it. All right, moving right along to number 4. Our EMA director, Chance Holmes, to formally requesting funds for a new vehicle for his assistant EMA director.
He's placed a packet there. I think there's a change in the number, so it's in the actual, agenda packet. It's gonna be replaced by this packet.
Hey, Jody, they said somebody muted or something. Can you send us that? Oh,
You see it, Commissioner? Okay. All right, so we've got that highlighted at $37,426 for the Chevrolet. So you can see there's almost a $10,000 difference. Now, if you'll turn your page over next, you'll see from Mobile Communications of America to put lights and sirens and the console in the Ford and the Chevrolet, the cost is the same, and that's $5,251.52. And then if you scroll to the very back page of the packet, of course, either one of the trucks that we go with will have to have portable radios, antennas, and that stuff. And that's 2 portable radios, the antennas, the install. You're looking at $3,761.33. Now I give you all those numbers to just give you these 2 simple totals. I'm gonna give you 2 simple totals of what the entire package is going to cost for the Ford and the Chevrolet. The Ford is $57,007.85. That's with the lights, that's with the sirens, that's with the radios, that's everything we need.
Can you repeat that number one more time?
Yes, sir. $57,007.85.
Okay.
Now the Chevrolet, that's the truck, that's the bed cover, the slide out bed, the lights and sirens and the radios, is $46,439.83. And the vehicle that we would like to go with is the Chevrolet, because Chevrolet is just better than the Ford.
We don't all agree with you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, absolutely. But those are the figures that I have for you, the quotes that I have.
How many miles are on the vehicle that this one would be?
200,000 miles.
200,000
And
miles.
it is 6 years old. But we're going to keep it in reserve.
Okay.
In the event we have to put ours in the shop for routine maintenance, whatever, that way we're not down a vehicle. And we also have a special operations team with members that are,
Right.
that's got the training, that's got the skill set to drive emergency traffic, but they also help accommodate her and I, because it's only 2 of us that run the county, help accommodate us with responding to calls. So we would be keeping that vehicle in reserve. It's just this would be a frontline vehicle for her. And the reason why we're going with a full-size, four-wheel drive pickup truck is our rescue trailers, like our Swiftwater trailer, confined space, trench rescue, all of those require a heavy-duty F-250 or a 2500 HD to pull this equipment. And that Tahoe is just way too much on that Tahoe. But that's, if there's any questions, I'll entertain any questions that the committee might
You give
have.
the local dealers an opportunity to give you a quote.
I went off total state contract. So even if it's a local dealer, they still have to sell it at that state contract price. And I know Russell Gupton, before he left, he gave me some numbers of ones to call, but no, sir, I did not call out here at, the Chevrolet dealer here in Springfield. I called dealership, and both of them were out of Nashville.
I say one's Murfreesboro and one's Nashville.
Yes, sir, that's correct. Yes, sir.
Is there any reason not to check with the local?
No, there's no reason. I can check, and they might say they don't deal with state contract, but I can find out for you to satisfy
Well,
this
I mean,
question.
They don't deal with state contracts. You've only got 2 state contract vendors, and the locals can't sell fleet sales. And when you start talking fleet sales, there's probably $14,000-15,000 off the sticker what state contract is on most of those vehicles.
Thank you, Sheriff.
So
Well, hadn't you, on some of the vehicles you have bought, hadn't you bought them at a better price than what it was?
We bid out before large number of vehicles. We tend to get a better price, but when you're talking 1 or 2, it's never been any better price.
So you're saying these numbers we're seeing here can't be beat from more
Right?
like that?
No, you can't. Not just buying one thing.
Sir,
Sir, if you look on there, they're knocking off almost $12,000
Yeah.
to go under state contract. So on the total package alone, it's over $4,500.
Mhm.
And then they're knocking off $12,000 with it being state.
Well, I mean, I was just asking if y'all had checked with the local dealers.
Not with it just being a single vehicle, no, sir.
Yeah, a few years ago we checked, but we like to buy out of this county, but they're not fleets.
Yeah.
By their dealership, they're not a fleet
Right.
dealership.
Because I knew when Russell gave me his stuff for state contract, that's what he used. But I appreciate your question. Hopefully we was able to satisfactorily answer it.
I mean, if you want them to call, I mean, it's simple, picking up a phone call, phone and calling.
But now, Sheriff, you said they don't do it though, right?
They're not fleet dealers.
They're not,
so
okay, yes, sir.
Fleet pricing.
I got you, yes, sir.
So they're not gonna be cheaper.
Now, these people are knocking off $12,000 off the bat.
It's over 25,000, so he either does sealed bid or he does statewide contract.
Right, and being there's just one vehicle, that's why I done statewide contract rather than sealed bid.
Typically, this is the route everyone goes.
Yes, sir,
If it's
okay.
one.
Thank you, Chairman.
Or should we authorize him to get the Chevrolet, the best price, and that's kind of what he wants.
I would assume we've got about 449,000 in COVID money left. We're gonna use the 40.
If you're,
We're gonna pull the money out
yeah,
of
if you're
that.
wanting to do a budget amendment, because he's no money in his budget, y'all were talking about putting around $400,000 of the COVID money in a reserve. That leaves $49,093.
And we're looking at $46,439.
So if y'all want to give him a budget amendment,
I
we
will
can do it
say that
balanced.
once we do this, the COVID money's gotta be left alone.
Yes.
I mean, we've taken it down to a couple $1,000. So, but I've got a motion on the floor to approve this 46,439.83. Is that
Yes, sir.
correct?
That's correct.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second by Commissioner Wade. Any more questions or discussions for Vance? Ready to vote? Commissioner Wade?
Aye.
Commissioner Stubblefield?
Aye.
Commissioner Bowens? Commissioner Glover?
Uh,
The chair votes aye, so the ayes have it.
Thank you all very much. Thank you all.
I'll make budget amendment number 45, and we'll charge that against 54410,799. And then the revenue's gonna be 47302. So you don't have that in your packet, but I'll get that prepared
Thanks
so
for
we
the thorough
can have
packet
that
as
to
well.
them.
That
Yes,
was-
sir.
The numbers are great.
Yes, sir. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you, Commissioner Wade.
All right.
Number 45.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Let's move on to the letter from the state comptroller of the treasurer's office. I'm going to turn that over to our finance director, Jody Stewart.
Okay, so basically, comptroller is sending a letter out wanting to know what all the counties are doing. They don't seem to be, demanding that we pass the budget early, but it looks like they're kind of asking politely. It worked out well last year where everybody passed their budgets by June 30th. So I went ahead and in this packet, I've got a new budget adoption schedule. And, it's tentative. I based it on the one we did last year. And this one was passed on June 21st. The one we passed last year was June 22nd, and it was a special called meeting. This is gonna be a regular June meeting. So,
So we're going to combine both instead of having to meet one week, meet the next. We'll all have it the same night. We're already there, so we might as well.
Payment.
could go an extra week, but I want my budget committee chairman to be here, so we need to do it this week.
Speaking of that, did we ever discuss the state commending Robertson County on, we were one of two counties to,
Yeah, I don't think I realized that till I saw this letter. It said us and Wilson County were the only ones that got a certificate where we not only passed our budget early, but we had a sound financial plan. So that was
one of two counties in the state's pretty good.
That's right.
two counties in Area 3
Be nice if they
with this distinction.
Yep.
get that out in the
That's
paper
awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's,
and let the county
We-
people know.
we need
That's
more good
newsworthy.
press. That is
Yes.
very newsworthy, absolutely.
I
Makes them
think
trust us.
the savings of
But-
the $856,000, we were supposed to get a press release on that, but I'm not positive what happened on that. The cities, they saved more than us because they refunded more than us, but there was supposed to be a press release, but I haven't seen anything yet. Maybe I'll look into that.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
don't know that that means bad.
Yeah.
You what?
The rest of the state you're talking about? I don't care about them. I don't care about Robertson.
We want to think we're bad.
I don't think I would.
So if y'all are on board and everyone is wanting to go on ahead and pass the budget, early this year and try to accommodate our comptroller, I would need a motion on that, but I do see that our school director is here. And I think the only issue we usually have is you don't have a final BEP number till the middle of July.
Right.
How?
And last year, if you remember, we passed it with what we thought we knew, and then we just had to do amendments relatively quickly thereafter, to the tune of, a couple $100,000, if I remember correctly. I'd have to go back and look, and I think our board, we're sitting there discussing, I don't think our board voted on it. I think I presented in May. I think our board voted in June, and I voted on the budget shortly thereafter. I mean, like the day after.
I think that's the way it's set up
Is that
again.
the way it is?
Yeah,
I don't have a copy of that new calendar in my packet, so,
It's set up now that your board will vote on the 14th and then
June,
of June.
Do your final.
Yep.
We got it, we're on the 11th. Like I said, basically, I did this exactly from last year, and all these are off for one day.
so let me ask, but that would actually present to this committee before June 14th.
That's correct.
I know in the past, you all did not want me to present a budget that hadn't been voted on by the board. So I will have to do that, is all I'm saying.
What about May the 11th? On here, it says school director presents school board approved, school fund budget to a committee.
I would love, that would be a great goal. We're finishing up principal budget meetings now. Then we have supervisory budget meetings. We truly, I mean, y'all know the process. We meet with every single school regarding the budget. And we nickel and dime folks to death. So, I know the planning session that we have planned for this Monday, we'll talk budget, but we won't go over it the way that we usually do that. But we can, I can talk to Chairman Hogan about, having a special called session if we have to. And it would be a planning session, and then they would vote on it in May.
They voted on it in May, then he'd be bringing up an approved budget by the school board, and that's what I prefer.
That's what we need.
Yes,
That's what we need.
don't need them then turning it down after we approve it.
We could do like either a May 11th or a May 18th.
Well, let's shoot for May the 11th, but we can always
We could
We can always
adjust
adjust your schedule depending on how it goes.
Do we need to find out if there's any discussion with the school board about any additional classrooms?
Well, I mean, I think that'll be brought to us when his budget comes to us, won't it?
Yeah, well, then,
So if he's a week late, if he's 2 weeks late.
Let's ask Dr. Carter.
Any additional, what I didn't hear, I'm sorry.
Oh, is there gonna be any discussion with the school board about any additional classrooms at any of the schools or,
We have our facilities plan, on the board agenda for Monday, the 5-year plan, which I know I've discussed a little bit with Commissioner Hoover. I don't see a whole lot of changes with that, and then I can present that to you all, but that's a bond question. I will tell you, not to get into the weeds too much, but, we are looking at 3 federal grants right now, and possibly a 4th one coming. The first one, helped us, pay for a lot of our, laptops and hotspots and virtual seats, as we mentioned. The second one, and what we call ESSER 2.0, is to the tune of about $6 million. And that's gonna upgrade the HVAC. And this is all stuff that local money won't have to fund at all. Kreisel, West Side, and Springfield Middle. And then ESSER 3.0, which we haven't even sat down yet, is to the tune of $15 million. So when we talk about buildings and classrooms, they're a part of that grant that could actually help us do that without touching local funding. Because part of that grant is, whatever you spent 1.0 on and 2.0 on, you can spend 3.0 on. meaning that if we need to build a wing onto a school to spread kids out, that qualifies under federal grant. So that's what we're talking about now. It's the third round of funds and what we want to spend that on. So I don't see us coming to the budget committee with this upcoming year's budget and talk about funding with local money classroom space right now.
That's good. Very good. Thank you.
What's going on down at Springfield Middle School? I see some big sewer pipes and stuff laying down there.
That's the city.
Okay, what are they?
That's what the city's doing. Yeah.
Well, what are they doing?
I think they were just redoing the city throughout the whole school. They're doing it at Bransford too. You'll see it over at Bransford. They're redoing some pipes and things like that. I'm not real sure. But I will tell you that we have Clover Engineering that's actually doing some surveying and stuff for us with that property that the city gave us, so that we can start talking about where to put parking as we expand that school to a magnet school.
Have they already transferred the ownership of the property?
No, sir. No, sir. We can't get the attorneys together. You know, it always takes lawyers. But
Okay.
if that hasn't happened, it's just been a vote by the board and a vote by the city alderman.
Oh, just for my information, what property are they gonna transfer to the county?
It is the swimming pool, where the swimming pool used to be, and the bottoms.
Okay.
And the bottoms is a little far to put parking, as you know. But that little landing, if you go behind the school where the drive is, and actually that drive, was owned by the city. That's part of the city property. But there's a next landing there, and, they can put quite a few parking places there as well. So it depends on the site map that Clover does for us.
I will need a motion to approve this adoption schedule.
I'll move.
I'll second.
I've got a motion by Glover, and I've got a second by Commissioner Wade. Any more discussion or questions on this? Ready to vote? Commissioner Bowens?
Aye.
Commissioner Wade?
Aye.
Commissioner Glover?
Aye.
Commissioner Stubblefield?
Aye.
The chair votes aye, so the ayes have it on that.
Okay, so basically, I'll let you know how this will work with the county. April 20th is usually the week that I meet with the county department heads. So if we're gonna do exactly like we did last year, I've already went through and have the county general fund budget with the expenses based on the February financials, and everything is on good track. The only thing I'm seeing issues with is the gasoline, because the gas has went up quite a bit. And what I'd like to do is I'll still take a look at March and fine tune it, because I found out today on something with a large bill that we got on the disposal fees. So that number for my Fund 116 changes. And I did tell Lynette and them I would meet with them. If the department heads need to meet with me, it'll just kind of be on an as-needed basis. And if I find out this is something y'all will continue a third year in a row, I might have to put this off a week and work something out where I could meet with the actual department heads, because not meeting with them, it's kind of like we should, but technically I've got a resolution that says we're not allowed to put any kind of capital in our budget. So I don't start out with any capital except the recurring. And the whole 11 years I've been doing the budget, the department heads have all been phenomenal. They just operate on what is a minimum, I feel like. Everybody pretty much well cooperates with that. And these last couple of years too, the department heads and even the school system, we don't have any findings. So I always thought it was going to be kind of tough to pass it early, but it just basically puts me under a little bit more of a crunch, and it's a little bit unfair to the department heads. But I'll figure out how to work with them a little more this year. But I basically have done it, and we're in good shape.
Have you ever done an analysis of our departments, like cost per transaction or something like that, so that we know that Robertson County it costs to have the county clerk's office, it costs this much per transaction? And then compare that to other counties?
No, sir, I haven't. If you get me another employee, I could maybe try to get an
I
analysis
understand,
going.
I understand you was asked that.
Short one now, aren't you?
I'm short one right now.
I wonder, okay.
In the middle of working on a big.
It's just a way to
big going
compare
capacity.
from one county to the another and the efficiencies of departments and such. We used to use it when we was doing job costing in some industries per transaction type of stuff.
Or all the counties done it.
I don't know. I've never asked. I just sitting here thinking about, one of the things I feel very strongly about is that if I'm responsible for a budget and I'm a department head, you're gonna talk to me. So I'd be upset if I didn't get the opportunity to sit down with you, okay? But that's me, because I feel like a county clerk, any one of them, they're elected to that position and they are responsible for the budget.
Well, it's basically all the county commissioner's budget. I'm just kind of the middleman facilitator.
I understand, but it's,
And you all have told me I can't put any capital in it and I can't put any raises
And
in
if they've
it.
got an issue, they're gonna come and say,
well,
I
that's,
need to talk to somebody.
I agree.
That's
And
what's happened,
that to
though.
me is, they need to see it ahead of time before it gets to us. Are they gonna have the opportunity when you get in the final format for each of these departments that you'll send it to them, maybe a week before we meet?
You're talking two things now. There's the one that I'll give you on the 20th will be the very raw data one. Yes, that one that you get that you finally pass before then, yes, they all look at that.
How about the raw data one? Because that was probably the one that they would be the most interested in seeing, if they're
raw-
projecting something bigger in their department or anything.
Well,
asking.
historically, if they're projecting something bigger in their department, they
They're
let
gonna
me
talk.
know.
Mhm.
But if you want me to do that, I would probably have to back this and say.
I'm not asking you to do
start on the
anything right now,
20th.
I'm just thinking out loud.
But I'm with you though. That's why I kind of feeling like they're being a little bit slighted.
I
And
would feel.
I totally
would feel that way.
understood. I totally understood the sliding last year,
Yeah, and we all did, and
and I didn't really anticipate this was going to happen.
the only
until
way
we
to
got that
add to
letter.
this, it sounds like to me, is you would have to start earlier on budgets,
No, no.
which means you're gonna be using even more raw data.
This
It's gonna
has
be even
worked.
longer.
This has worked really well. So
I know,
I'd really
I know.
rather kind of figure out how to crunch in a week or two
Okay,
than I would use data that I'm not used to using. I mean, it's not broken. I've done it for 11 years. I prefer to use what I'm used
it was
to.
probably being done before you took over the job the same way. Because I think he did the same thing. He wouldn't let us go back beyond a certain date because of the data.
Not because it.
I guess I've slept too many times since last year. So we know that the VP funding will be kind of up in the air. We'll have our first estimate comes out in April, and then we get another in May, and then another in June, and the final one in July. But as far as how much the penny will bring, all of that, how close are we gonna be able to get? This is my question.
I could end up talking to them about what the penny will bring for sure when we meet in 2 weeks on the 20th.
Okay.
Because I've been looking at numbers with Chris Trauber and the one I got, the assessments I got March 1st was greater than the ones that I got April 1st. And he tells me it's fluid. Right now, I'm seeing some growth in there, but I'm not really 100% sure what the comptroller advises us to do and what the budget committee wants to do. I think the penny will go up a
I
few
think you're gonna
percent.
see an increase in it this year.
Yeah, you will see a few percent, but I'm
There's a lot
not
of
sure.
building going on.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's gonna drive it up.
Yep.
Well,
Thank you, Ed.
I'm number out or not.
Not yet, it's too early.
Thank you for answering my questions. Appreciate it.
That's all that's on our agenda. Is there any other business to discuss tonight?
Well, actually, there was still the item about the sales tax.
Okay. I thought that was already included in there. I'm
No,
sorry.
I think it's fine. It's all-
Is it? Number 5.
Yes.
All right.
So on the sales tax, this is my 11th year that I've been asked, how do we do the sales tax and the growth and how do we compare to other counties? Basically, I've got Wesley Robertson helped guide me through this. And we're either the only county or one of the few only counties where all of the county sales tax goes to the school system. As you can see where I've said, put the law in, technically there's, the sales tax portion that's county, Robertson County, the outlying areas, that half of that by law has to go. So half your sales tax goes to the school system. And the way it works now is all the cities get their half, and then the other half all comes to the county. On this other part of the sales tax, you'll look at the page, this page here where I broke it down for your sales tax collections. I think they end up taking 1% off of this for Kendra, but I just used actual numbers off of a letter I get from the state. And the 0.5% in the 20 budget would have generated $1,067,683.75. And the half, shouldn't say the 0.5%, I should say the actual half. To date, through the county's budget that we got, has generated $1,029,610.64.
County share.
The county share.
Schools.
Currently, that's all goes to the schools. So when you look at this column here, you'll see the 2,000,001 went to the schools. If you would have divided it in half, it's $1,067,000. And then this share here, 2,059,059, divided in half, it'd be $1,029,029. So finally was getting help from Jeff Bailey, Wesley Robertson. They told me that Putnam County, you'll see the next item that's attached, Putnam County Schools does it in their budget resolution, and they did it in their budget resolution for 21. Well, they talk about the local option sales tax, and the amount of $17 million shall be allocated to the general purpose school fund in equal monthly installments of the $1,014,16,666, and that $800,000 shall be allocated to the county general, with all remaining local option sales tax shall be allocated to the debt service fund. Well, talking to my budget committee chairman and the county mayor, if we end up doing this, there's always been a need and a concern to start a capital fund. So basically, these funds that are going into the operating of the school fund would go into like a capital fund for the county commissioners to decide where the funds go to. This would normally be a difficult thing possibly to do for the school, but when you're having record growth of 16% in the sales tax, if you're ever going to do this, this would be the year. Back when they started on me back 11 years ago, it was around 100,000, a few 100,000, and they felt like that wasn't enough that was worth to do anything with. So we've been talking about a couple years to start a capital fund, and this would be a generation where you could generate $1 million, possibly $1.2 million.
If we would have done this 10 years ago, when Dr. Causey tried to find some land, we'd have a nice chunk of money sitting there so we could go buy it instead of figuring out how we're going to pay for it. And to me, this makes sense to do.
It's just, we're just looking to take some of the growth that's happening, is it, and move it over to a
Move that
general
over to a
fund.
capital fund.
project.
Yeah,
Capital project
capital
fund,
project
in-
fund.
under the general fund.
I
Yes,
think while the
It'll be
money's there,
general.
it's a good idea.
right.
And then once, if general needs it or school needs it, then that's
Then we can move it.
that's when your county commissioner said, that's when the
Make up the
commission votes where to move it to. And you know that 75% or better big debt services is total.
Yeah.
It was a ripple.
Could you believe that in January? I think that what happens with January, that was what people collected in December, and it gets to the
But
state.
look at the growth from January of 2020 to 2021. I mean, it's a massive amount.
I think if we keep up at this rate, I think your money that's gonna come in your sales tax this year, I think
You
it's
know
gonna
what?
hit about 16,500,000.
What's that?
That's 3 million over budget, so that's a nice
You're right. Yeah.
growth.
Nice,
They bought
nice
TV.
growth.
3 million over
Stimulus money.
budget,
Where'd it
yeah.
come from? Even the trustees saying that more people pay the taxes on time this year than they have in a long time.
Because they had the stimulus
Stimulus
money.
money.
It's them.
Well, if you
And
look
we-
at January and February, you had another stimulus payment come out
Mhm.
in January.
And the property taxes, that being said, we've already met budget at
Tax levy picked that up.
the end of March. We've already met budget on property tax.
Well, I think this is one time we can start this 171 like I've always wanted to do since I've been on the budget committee.
I agree. I
Yeah.
wanted a capital.
I think it's the right move for the county. I really do.
I like the idea of a capital fund, so we're putting it away for these new schools.
It'd be a great start.
Jody, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
What's left in Joe's sitting right now?
What's left in Joe Fort's, $7.99?
Yeah, Hey, don't look if you don't know. I just, that termite money, he's got to get low.
But that termite money won't be on this. I've got this here. Let me look real quick. And what we do on Joe's, if we think he's gonna get low, we just come in May or
Just take it out of mine.
June and do a budget amendment. Yeah, if we got some in yours, we could take it out of yours.
That'd be all right.
Let me see.
I think he's okay right now.
He had 30,000 in there at the end of
Okay.
February.
So he's part of all, what, around 8, 10?
25, should he?
How much was the
Has he-
termite?
Termite was only 4,500.
Is that all?
Yeah,
Joe
he-
was talking 15,000.
They wanted
Joe gets a little
He said
concerned.
12 to 15. I said, Joe, do what? He said, they got to drill in all that concrete, Billy, or Mayor.
Joe knows how to sell. He
Yeah,
he goes back and it's
He
a third of
is
the
very,
price.
very,
It's $4,500.
all right, that's the reason I asked.
Yes.
First of all, I apologize because I don't have any information on that. So what we're talking about, first of all, we're talking about next year's budget.
It should not affect next year's budget at all.
More than likely, it won't affect your budget at all because your budget is 13,500,000. First off, the county has to make sure we meet maintenance of effort.
Right.
And what will happen is, it depends on what we put in the budget on that one. I would doubt seriously, I wouldn't, even if the county didn't do this, I'd be very concerned about us collecting 16,500 and saying, Sheila, put 16,500 in the budget.
Oh, I agree. So
Not a
we're
good thing.
talking about next year's budget, as far as what we're gonna budget for revenue for sales tax.
Yeah, it'll probably still, depending on what this comes in.
14,
I'm thinking maybe around 14.
and then whatever we collect above 14, we put in this, and
Not necessarily, it's gotta depend on this half. We could collect a total, just saying, we could collect a total again next year of, say, 17 million.
right,
But what happens is the county can only take half of this growth.
okay,
So we would get, out of that 17 million, the county would put 1.2 million over here in this general fund.
okay.
And then the other 15.8 goes to your budget.
Part of revenue is that one.
We still have to follow a law here where you get half.
Right,
And that's why I was thinking, it seems like a year that wouldn't hurt that much, because historically your growth on your sales tax is about 6 or 7%. We're at historic growth here. We're hitting 16 and 17%, which is probably attributed because of, you had the 2019 October where they got the sales tax going to the internet sales.
along that same lines, if we end up with 16.5 this year, and we budgeted 13.5, because we didn't know what, are we talking about taking 15
No,
of that?
we can't. We can only take, this is just collected in the county, not in the city,
Right,
portion and all that. So
Nothing will change. We
Yes.
can't do this until we make it effective July 1,
July 1.
20.
That's really all.
Yeah.
I
July
wasn't
1,
sure.
2021.
You know, trust me, when the sales tax starts coming in really good, I
Yeah,
start
sure.
thinking about things that I could do that we wouldn't be able to do otherwise.
I would not be so happy about setting up this capital fund this way if I thought it was hurting schools. And I do not think it's going to hurt the schools at all.
So let's please keep me in the loop on this. If I can have a copy of everything, y'all have a copy of?
Sure.
Like I said, it's not in my package, so I.
You can, matter of fact, you can have my copy if you want.
Well, if they
I don't wanna do
make,
that.
when they make a motion to do this, what I'll have to do is I'll have to get the county attorney to draft the legal part up and get all the, particulars and the gymnastics and make sure we do it all legal.
Okay.
But no, nothing happens with the year we're in.
Okay.
If we collect 16.5, that's what the school system collects.
Okay.
This is something that would be in the future, and we would hope we would collect 16.5 next year, but I'm not positive because we got growth in the county. Maybe part of this is because of COVID. People are,
I think the county's just growing.
I'll be surprised if we ever go down to sales tax.
I agree.
this is some record growth.
Amazon trucks are running all over the sky.
They are.
I'm passing out Cedar Hill, a FedEx truck, a UPS truck, and 2 Amazon trucks within 5 minutes of each other.
On a Sunday.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sunday,
Yeah.
yes.
I got a neighbor
Well,
that's not
three
with.
Thank you.
So do we need a motion?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
All the time.
They're finding all online.
So I make a motion that we set aside that money into a capital fund.
Well,
That's the
let me-
1.2.
Let me get a second and we'll
One.
discuss it. I've got a second and
All
then
right.
let's discuss.
Is it, are we gonna say a dollar amount, or are we gonna talk about a resolution to this effect?
We can't say a dollar amount because we won't know what that figure is.
Well, I hadn't read this, but I mean, do we not need to have something that's like this?
You will, right there at the bottom where you
Yeah.
see the stars. Yeah, Clyde Richards gonna have to write that up.
Okay. All right,
And I
well,
think we'll probably have in there where there says 17 million, I'm sure we're probably gonna do, you think 14 million's a good number to put in your budget? For your sales tax?
They said this, tonight's the first night I've heard of this, so I'd like to have a look. I think Gary just better.
Well, I'm a little bit concerned about putting too much,
Right.
so.
well,
I think he'll do over 14, but if you're uncomfortable putting more than that in, then
Well, technically, I'll talk with the comptrollers. I'll get some guidance from the comptroller. How about that?
all right, are you gonna do that and then come back in May? Is that what you're gonna do about, of course, we've got a motion.
I can.
this, I don't think that's gonna affect the motion.
Huh?
And
We just
second,
need to determine amount at
Right,
some point.
right,
But that
right,
can be after the motion.
That's right.
and, yes.
Just move forward with it, and then if we need to get, more particulars, once we have that written out from Clyde Richard and all that, then I come back.
Yeah, Clyde will be the
It'll
one
give us more
wanting more
time to get
particular.
the numbers tighter
Yeah.
as well.
All right,
Go ahead, ask.
state your motion again.
I made a motion that we set up, that we divert this money to the capital fund.
And that's, is that 171?
171,
171.
171.
general capital.
And this will be a new fund. I mean, this will be a new line item in the budget. Is that correct? We don't have a,
Right now, what's gonna happen is this new fund is gonna end up being in our budget. This fund will be, because this is bringing in a local revenue stream, so by law, you have to put this in the budget. And then, our Fund 172, where we've got that local revenue stream for the pilot money, that's gonna be part of your budget this year as well. So we'll have 2 new funds in the budget, in the 22 budget.
Question.
so are you sat on it? Questions being called. Ready to vote? Commissioner Bowens? Commissioner Stubblefield?
Aye.
Commissioner Glover? Commissioner Wade?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, so the 5 ayes have it.
We sure need to remember to publicize it
Yes.
in
It'll,
June.
it's gonna end up being in your budget
Well, I mean,
book.
this is going, I'm talking about the budget, so be sure that we get it spread across the county as best we can.
Sure.
This as well as our budget.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Aaron, do you have anything for us? Good. Anything else?
Make a motion, we
I got a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. We are adjourned.